Hello guys, and welcome to the second part of the Unanswerable Thomas questions. Thanks for the support on the first part, because almost every sub I got was from that video. I really appreciate all of you. Now, let's start.
Are Thomas and Tug set in the same universe?
I thought a lot about that, and I came to a conclusion, yes. Of course, Puffer doesn't have a face, but I will ignore that.
Why do the drivers wear suits? Don't they fear they'll get dirty? Don't they get hot wearing those?
It's the sort of outfit.
If the engines truly are driven by the people in their cabs, could the engines sleep while moving? Like, could Thomas just take a nap while in operation?
If you go by the theory that they are driven by the drivers, yes. But I have one theory, like the one from Victor Tanzig and Late Jurassic. The engines are driven by the drivers, but they can move on their own too. They could even sleep while driving themselves, now that I think about it, but I think they would horribly crash.
How does Etienne have a mustache? So apparently the engines can grow facial hair now. Dang, Thomas must really be set in the same universe as Tugs.
That further proves the theory that Tugs and TTTE are in the same universe, like Zio said. But to answer the question, he just has a mustache.
If Gator's real name is Gerald, why does his nameplate say Gator?
Probably someone designed that nameplate with the name Gator. Multiple questions coming up.
Someone's in denial.
Can the trains breathe underwater? Like, what if Percy slid in just a little further? Or what if Thomas got completely submerged? Would they have drowned?
That being asked, do the engines breathe at all? Do they have lungs? Would an engine survive if it were somehow placed in an area that lacked oxygen?
I also thought a lot about that, and I think no, they don't breathe. They could survive in an area without oxygen, I think. If anyone has theory on that, write it in the comments below, and also tell me where the lungs would be.
How old is Lady Hap? There is no way she's a grandmother. I mean, look at her. What is she, a grandmilfer?
She just looks young. I think she is 55 to 60.
Never mind that, how old is Dowager Hat? She's a great-grandmother and looks to be, what, 60?
She also looks young. I think she is 70. Topham's family just has a history looking young, I guess.
Who are Stephen and Bridget's parents?
I have no idea, so I will make my answer easy. They're adopted and the parents are somewhere in England.
Why do some rolling stock have faces and some don't?
That is a true unanswerable Thomas question.
If the trucks with faces cause the crashes and thousands of dollars in damage, why doesn't the railway just stop using them and use trucks without faces? They're not going to cause any trouble because they're not alive. Problem solved.
This question is also unanswerable for me too, but I thought about that many times before I even knew the Unlucky Tug existed, so please answer in the comments.
How do Caroline's eyes work? Like, those are her headlights, right? So, do they turn on and her eyes just glow?
Yes, the eyes glow.
What's up with Jeremy? Does he seriously not have a cockpit? So how does his pilot see? Or does he even have a pilot?
He has a cockpit because his eyes are see-through. You'll see this later again.
Who installed Pinchy onto Diesel 10? Like, what nutjob thought putting a giant mechanical claw on top of a diesel train was an idea worth investing in?
I think it was intended to do stuff like picking up branches and leaves, or scrap, like he did in Calling All Engines.
When Sir Topham Hatt reprimands Diesel 10, what's stopping Diesel 10 from just grabbing Topham and throwing him across the room into a brick wall?
The age recommendation.
Does Diesel 10 have a driver? If he does, then is it the driver that's operating the claw?
Like Kevin, Cranky and Marion, I think he doesn't have a driver.
Same question, but about the pack. Do the characters themselves operate their arms, or are there people inside of them? I mean, they have operators and banksmen. Is their job just to stand around and supervise the machines operating themselves at the site? What a bizarre job that is.
Sounds pretty boring, to be honest.
Yes, but they are standing near the machines and supervise them and are not in the cab.
Do the engines ever get flies splattered on their faces when they're traveling at super high speeds? Do they ever get them in their eyes? Would it benefit them to wear goggles?
Yes, but it isn't shown.
Thomas seems to become infatuated when he first sees Ashima. Can the engines have intimate feelings towards each other?
No, no, no. But to answer the question, yes. Now, the Tug's questions.
How do the characters that speak through megaphones work? Like, does the voice that comes out of Big Mickey belong to the crane itself? Or from his operator? Or does he even have an operator?
The operator speaks, I think.
Why do some of the tugs have doors to their heads? Who is going in there? Can a person even see out? Are the eyes like one-way mirrors or something?
This is what I meant earlier. The eyes are one-way mirrors, and the doors are their designs.
How do the tugs attach themselves to barges in the dock without the aid of people? Do their ropes just launch themselves and they hope it sticks to whatever they're throwing it at?
Yes, they hope it sticks.
Why do the tugs have British accents if the show takes place in America?
No idea.
How did Sea Rogue lose an eye? There must be a really tragic backstory there.
Well, he does have the munitions company logo on his stack. There obviously was a terrible accident where Sea Rogue's family got blown up in a munitions fire, and whilst trying to save them, he lost his eye. And with his family gone, his uncle took him in and raised him.
I agree with Tug's theory here.
Why do the tugs have lifeboats if there's no one in them?
It's also their design.
The tugs offer to tow Izzy for money, but how does Izzy pay for them? Does he have a giant wallet stowed in his head or something?
Izzy's operator or whatever pays Captain Star or Zero later. That's all I can come up with.
So does Grampus's face wrap around his entire front? Like, under his chin below the water is the whole front of the submarine flesh? Or does the face end just below the surface?
No, the face ends just below the waterline.
Where's Lord Stinker's mouth? Is the mouth the hull? Is the garbage in his mouth? Oh lord.
I think the idea is pretty funny that the garbage hole is his mouth, so I will say that.
How? Just how do the tugs have hair?
It's like the mustaches, they just grow.
How much of an engine has to be removed before it's considered dead? Scruffy was literally in pieces, but was still alive. Can they only die if the face is destroyed?
The face has to be destroyed. Also, I think it's the same as in Stories of Sodor, where an engine has to consume black water and then it can be scrapped.
So, if an engine smoke box, aka the black part where the face is attached, needs to be replaced, how do they remove it without detaching the face? Or is the face removable?
The face is removable.
If the engine's faces are removable, is the engine still operable without the face?
No.
If the face is removed from the engine, can it still talk?
No, it's like a coma, I think.
If you snapped James's whistle off, would it be like you breaking his p***s?
No.
What's Stepney's situation? Does he work on Sodor or the Bluebell Railway in England? Is he somehow owned by Sir Topham or an entirely different controller?
He works on the Bluebell Railway.
Can engines get black eyes? Or nosebleeds? I guess not, since they don't have blood. Or do they?
No, they don't have blood, so they can't bleed. But they can get black eyes even though they don't have blood? Ignore that.
Who applies Daisy's makeup? Does it have to be washed off and reapplied when it rains?
That's not makeup, that's spray paint. Joke. Maybe her driver or her fitter. And I think it hasn't to be newly applied when it rains.
Now, who made Whiff's glasses? And why does he need them? Did the manufacturer who made his eyes mess up and then they had to correct it?
Some glass company made the glasses and something just went wrong while it was birth, I guess.
Would ice have helped the swelling of James's bee sting?
Yes.
Do engines need to breathe? Most of them don't have nostrils except for Toby for some strange reason, and his don't even go all the way into his face.
No.
How did the coaches speak in the earlier seasons? They don't have faces, so where are the voices coming out?
Magic.
Why doesn't City of Truro have a face? Huh? And how does he talk without it?
He's just like the coaches in season 1. It's magic.
Why aren't Thomas and Percy scared when they visit the scrapyard and Thomas, Percy, and Old Slowcoat?
No idea.
When people climb aboard Daisy, does she feel them inside of her?
Yes.
Does an engine not having paint equal to it being naked?
No, because an engine can't be naked.
Why does Toby still sleep in the same shed he slept in on his old railway?
Honestly, no idea.
How is it possible for humans to lever Duncan onto the rails in rock and roll?
Also no idea.
What is the average cost per accent on Sodor?
I would think it's around 800,000 to 1 million euros, or 965.73 to $1.21 million for the Americans out there.
Who in the right mind would put a set of buffers right in front of a barber shop?
This guy.
Does an engine's fire going out result in the engine feeling tired?
No.
If an engine loses its buffer, is it like losing a hand?
No, but kind of yes.
How do the engines feel pain? Like in Blue Mountain Mystery, Paxton gets hit by rocks and says, "Ow." Are they sensitive to touch too? If I put my hand on Thomas's buffer, would he feel that? Ew, that's gross.
Yes, they are sensitive to touch. He would feel your hand.
Tender engines can feel their tender, so if it's removed, do they still feel it? Does it hurt?
No, they can't feel the tender if it's removed.
How do Connor and Caitlin's crews get inside their cabs when their doors and windows are clearly painted on?
That's a terrible character design, so I'm just going to pretend that as are doors.
Does Farron McCall have a wife or kids, or is he forever alone?
He's forever alone.
Why do none of Mr. Percival's children look nothing like him or his wife? Are they all adopted?
Yes, they are all adopted.
How can the Coldy Fell engines have a face at each end? Are they constantly looking in two directions?
I think that is like a CME sibling. I have no idea if that is called that way in English. But they have one brain, so technically they can decide from where to look on.
Can the Coldy Fell engine speak from both faces at once, or is it more like the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas and how he changes between faces when he speaks?
Yes.
Since the Coldy Fell engines have a face at their back end that they talk out of, does that mean they're literally speaking out of their ass?
Technically, yes.
Why does Trevor like children so much?
He's a pedophile. Ah! No, please don't take this seriously.
Why do engines like Duck, Ryan, and Arthur still have the initials of their previous railway painted on them? Shouldn't they have been replaced with NWR by now?
They are just allowed to keep them as a reminder of the old railways.
Does the Magic Railroad still exist? Does anyone actually use it still?
I think the Magic Railroad isn't canon. Sorry for the people that like it, but if it is, it should still exist.
Is the island of Sodor really toy-sized in Thomas and the Magic Railroad? Does Mr. Conductor become normal-sized when he travels there? Or does he fit in scale with everything?
In the Magic Railroad, everything is toy-sized, yes. That's part of the reason it isn't canon for me.
How on earth did Cranky get to Brendam Docks? Was he built there from the ground up?
He was built there.
Does that cruise ship at the back of Brendam ever go anywhere?
I think everyone noticed that, but no, it's not.
How do the engines blush? Their faces turn red, which indicates blood rushing to the face. Does this mean they have blood?
As you probably remember, I said the engines don't have blood. Now you might be wondering. I think it's their steam that makes their face red. It is kinda stupid, I know, and diesel engines just don't ask that.
In the Railway series story Sir Handel derails himself by pushing the rails apart with his wheels. If he can hyperextend his wheels to do this, then what else can engines hyperextend? How was this even possible?
He just can do it.
Do the engines hum their own themes to themselves? Are they even aware that they have themes?
No, they aren't aware that they have themes. They hum just random music and maybe the composers were nearby.
Can an engine have mental problems?
Yes, it probably is possible.
Who manufactures the hats for the tugs? Like, seriously, do they get to choose what kind of hat they wear? And does it affect their personality? Like, would Top Hat act more like working class if you wore a cloth cap? And would Big Mac act more bourgeoisie if you wore a top hat?
No, they don't get to choose what hat they want to wear. And yes, I think their character is partly based on their hat. I do not know who manufactures the hats.
How was the Misty Island Railway built? The three brain-dead American outcasts explain that they caused trouble on the mainland and were banished into the forested wasteland we all know and loathe. It's established that there are no forms of standard 20th century society on the island, just the logging locos, which honestly is another question all on its own. The engines are given Sudrine drivers later on, but it's clear that nobody's actually ever lived there, so how was the railway built? Did the mainland pay to construct this unnecessarily large railway prison on an unknown island, just to contain these three terroristic engines who enjoy the pain of others by hurling construction equipment at unsuspecting victims? They probably had to cut down an immeasurable amount of trees, disturb the tribes of peaceful natives, and ship tons of supplies to an unmapped location shrouded in mist.
I will now try to make the completely stupid idea of Misty Island Rescue proudly work. The railway and the houses were built for the engines and the workers to cut down the trees. But then something happened, because of which everyone left, and the three stupid characters misbehaved and got banned on the island. And maybe the drivers kinda love, or at least like the engines, so they keep them on steam. That sounds so wrong. Don't take this seriously. Misty Island Rescue is a terrible movie and I don't want to argue on that. Just quickly, in the last part I forgot to answer this question, so I will answer it now.
Could Thomas drink water from the water tower through the hose like a straw?
Yes, he could technically, but he shouldn't. That's it. That was part 2, everybody. Now to the thing most people have been waiting for. Shoutouts. Check the Hit Error review to see what I'm talking about. The subs are RosieFan37NWR, Kyle the Destroyer, Mr. Snoop, Carlo Gianelli, Arafdon, Supersonic Style 333, CF2364 and Knuckles TM. Why do you have such a hard name? And also Late Jurassic and Thomas Mario Fan 11. This probably won't make sense to anyone watching that isn't German, but Late Jurassic is a German YouTuber I have been watching since 2017 and I'm on YouTube since 2016. I absolutely love his series. I was so happy when I got that notification. And now for Thomas Mario Fan 11. He is the guy that had the original video idea for this 2 years ago. For more info, read these comments. But I'm not 100% sure, but he commented and then I suddenly had one more sub, so I assume that was him. Just quickly, the first part of this has got 69 hours of playback from you guys. Nice. So yeah, that's it. I will see you next time.